Wargaming have re-released a tank in World of Tanks console, and it is of course the T-77, and today's video is going to have a look at what this season rank 100 tier 8 American heavy tank autoloader is actually going to be like for you guys when you do eventually pick it up as part of the season. And of course, this is a vehicle that was released as part of a season last year, and actually it was released as part with a kind of a skin operation that you had to also complete to be able to get the skin for this tank, but now that's also been re-released as part of the season pass as well. But the key thing about this tank is that it gets a 3-shot autoloader. It has 360 alpha per shot, and it's actually one of the interesting ones from my personal opinion that we are seeing within World of Tanks, and that's because not only does it have everything that you'd expect from an autoloader with 1080 damage, but it also gets all of the benefits of being able to kind of pump out damage at tier 8, because 1080 hit points worth of damage is pretty much 75% of the hit points of every single tank at tier 8 pretty much. So if you can catch people out, if you can take them out, then you're going to come out pretty well. Now, so we are taking a nice position at the beginning of the game, taking out some of these tanks that have kind of pushed aggressively on the eastern side of the map. And of course, the key thing with this tank is to keep that gun firing. As soon as you start missing, or as soon as you avoid getting engaged for a long period of time, you realise, maybe I'm not going to end up doing as much damage as I'm expecting I will do. So making sure that you do kind of think about that when going for damage, and also just trying to play this tank well is going to come out 10 times better for you for doing that. Now we're going after both the T-77 and the Scorpion G, and we're bouncing a few rounds. The T-77 turret is kind of bouncy in some way, but you're not going to be able to bounce a whole lot, so don't expect to. Obviously, this situation is awful for us because there are heavy tanks now pushing aggressively. I know that the defender is coming, so I need to get into a position to be able to deal with him, and we're on full health at this point, so maybe we'll be able to, if we play our cards right, be able to take him out, and then before the others on the enemy team do come forward. And luckily he actually bounces. We then auto-aim, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but then he pulls back down and we can plow rounds into the top of his turret, which is ultimately terrible for the defender. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot from there. But one of the key things that you want to do as a player is to make sure that you do get yourselves into positions like this, because this is really important. Because the defender has to push pretty aggressively. Yes, there's now a T-92 light tank on the enemy team pushing forward, but the defender is the key worry, and he keeps auto-aiming us, so he's not actually penning. Obviously, if he was any kind of if he was a player that maybe knew how to take out a T-77, not just auto-aiming, he probably would have done. But we're going after the T-92 because I'm pretty confident I can take out this defender. I was trying to actually ram him to take out the last 150 hit points because I knew I was going to be able to get at least one shell of damage. Now from here, maybe I shouldn't have come down off of the hill, I'm not entirely sure, but at this point it's now just a 15-second wait to be able to try and get the shell into the defender before he can finish us off. Obviously he can't now finish us off in one singular hit because he just won't have the time, and we are now fully reloaded and we can go for the shot into his engine deck, but we do get taken out by the enemy T-77 who places around. I don't know why he waited so long to actually hit us with the second shot, but nonetheless still picking up 4,200 damage and also 516 assistance and nearly 4.7 thousand combined damage, and with 1,900 block damage as well. So yes, it can bounce a few rounds, but don't take this as the rule, it's more of the exception. So what else does the T-77 offer you if you do decide to actually go towards it, or if you do actually decide to play it once you've earned it as part of the season pass? Well, it gives you not only kind of the autoloader like you saw in the previous game, where we're able to deal quite a bit of damage and have a little bit of a kind of troll armor model that allows you to get some block damage. Don't take it as a kind of given. We kind of crash into the house because I was AFK at this point, just going forward. But this is Ghost Town, and it's actually a really good map for the T-77 because town maps where you can poke around a corner, deal your 1080 damage, and then leave again, or at least pull back around the corner where the opponents can't hit you. That is the ultimate kind of best thing that you can do with the T-77. Now, what we're going to do is try and catch out any heavy tanks that are going to be crossing early on in this game, literally across the way from where we are. Seeing if anyone is crossing over here. We spot the AMX M5 who's out in the open. We're going to place a round into him, somehow penned him. I actually don't know how, probably through the front of the turret where it was less angled, but we weren't really going for a pen, so it was definitely lucky to be able to do that. And then we place a final one into the Somya's side of the turret, and now we're on a 29-second reload, and it's time to just back up down the slope and avoid being hit altogether. So, with the team kind of predominantly in the south, kind of east of the map, and somehow a P43 Bis deciding he's going to try and YOLO me, and then deciding that he's going to pull back, is not going to end up very well for him. Of course, that is a tier 6, I believe, off the top of my head, and yeah, can get 2-shot by me, so I feel bad, but he shouldn't have pushed, and he will learn that for the next time he plays Ghost Town, hopefully, at least. Well, maybe. Anyway, with the AMX pushing up, we can kind of just stop him from just YOLOing. I have now got a light tank pushing towards the base in our artillery, so we've got to be careful of them, as well as these heavy tanks, both in front and to the side of us. Making sure we don't get caught out, because as soon as people know that you're on a reload in this tank, so you have to kind of feign bravado, be like, yeah, I'm fully reloaded, and you kind of pop up and you be a bit harassing in terms of how you're playing, pretending like you've got a full clip can stop a lot of people from just going. One thing that doesn't stop people from just going is an IS-3 reversing through the centre of the map. I genuinely have no idea what he was doing, but there we go. Backchat starts clipping me, and this is terrible. This is not good. I try and avoid the shells, but he actually clipped me for 3 out of 4 of his shots. I know that one of my teammates is getting YOLO'd. He's a heavy against the VKD, which is the tier 6 even, so hopefully he can deal with that. And then we can push forward and hopefully deal with the Tiger. I'm not fully reloaded at this point. The Tiger's firing HE because I don't even know why, but he is. And then we put one into the Tiger, going after the SU. I think for some reason I could have actually hit him, but I realised then that the IS-3 has been sat behind this area. But we get super lucky by setting them on fire, so yeah, nothing really to worry about there. But overall, not a bad game considering everything that was going to go on within this, and we're just pushing towards the Somya, but you know how it is when it's 8 versus 2 tanks and your team decide to cap. Yeah, disappointed with that result, but a epic victory, and of course 3,000 damage for the T-77. It was a really fun time to revisit this tank and give it a go again. It's definitely a solid performer, and you can have some really fantastic games. Obviously both of these were like, you know, good, but they could have been a hell of a lot better had we had a little bit more time in either of them, or just that we didn't get so unfortunate with having the team that we did, both capping or